James. I am a master content strategist and founder of Renegade Creative Media Group. And through my company, we support purpose driven business and brand owners like you to help them know what to say online that helps them build awareness, establish credibility, and get paid. Because the getting paid part is the like the treasure at the end of the rainbow. What's the point of creating content and doing all of this work and spending all this time researching and all of these things that people tell you to do if you're not going to get paid for it? So I want to talk about how to do that, how to use your content to help you get paid. And it's all about positioning the thing that you have to sell. So I have been having conversations with business owners lately, last couple of months, about their content marketing activities and what they're doing and how they're creating content. And the general frustration that I see is most people, a lot of people aren't getting the results that they want from their content. And you all, if you are watching this on, let me know where you're watching from. I'm live on Facebook, Instagram, and Periscope right now. So drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. So business owners that I'm talking to, are frustrated because they're doing all of the things that people say to do. They're asking their audience questions. They're asking, what's your biggest challenge? They're doing all of those things and they're creating the content, but they're not getting the results. They're not making the sales. People aren't signing up for the email list. No, people aren't doing anything. And usually when I hear that, I have two questions that I ask. I will say first, what are you selling? And because the point, again, of creating content is to get sales. That's why we're doing this. The byproduct of that is building a following, getting people on your email list, all of those other fabulous things. But at the end of the day, you're doing this because you want to make money. That's just it. So I ask, what are you selling? And then I ask, how are they positioning the product for sale? So in my mind, in my opinion, if you're going to use content, if you're going to do all of the things to create it and plan it and schedule it and publish it and repurpose it, if you're going to do all of that, you also have to include the positioning of the product that you're selling so that it stands apart from everybody else that's doing the same thing that you do, and it's presented as something that solves a problem for your intended customer. So I want to read you the definition of positioning for those that are curious about what this term means. Entrepreneur.com defines positioning as the way you differentiate your product or service from that of your competitors and then determine which market niche to fill. Differentiation and determining the niche to fill, because everybody that's in your audience is not a consumer, is not a customer. I'm sorry. People that follow you will consume your content, but they may not buy your product. That's the difference between a consumer and a customer. And you, as the marketer, you have to know the difference, because that's how you end up getting frustrated. You put customer expectations on people that are actually consumers and will only ever be a consumer. And because your expectations are different and the people don't behave that way, you get frustrated. So market niche to fill and differentiation of your product. So when we're talking about how to use your content to position your product for sale, there's one question that you have to ask and answer for yourself. And that question is, what characteristics of my product does my intended customer need? And the way that you talk about those needs is what we're going to get into, but you have to start with, what do the people need? Because if you can't even tell them why they should care in your content, then they're not going to pay attention. You have to meet them where they are. You have to give them a reason to care. So what product characteristics does your intended customer need? And then you break down your answer into two categories. And we're going to go into both of these categories. So get out your pen and paper and write these down. The first piece of identifying what characteristics of your product that your intended customer needs is your messaging. Because the way you talk about the way that your product fills the need is going to matter, because if you're not speaking their language, if you're not talking about it in a way that will perk up their ears, they're not going to listen. Margaret says, my customer is anyone who wears makeup or needs skincare. Margaret, that's too vague. I'm a person that wears makeup and or needs skincare, or maybe I'm just one or the other. So you see, that's a great example. I'm so glad you said that, Margaret. We have to know what is the specific problem, which is the second part of that key question. Knowing which market niche to fill. If you're saying somebody who wears makeup or needs skincare, that's two areas. So you can't talk to those two people in one piece of content. You all following me here? You have to, for one piece of content, you need to be speaking to one specific type of person. That's your messaging, because that determines how you're going to talk about it. If my issue is skincare, talking to me about makeup is not going to float my boat. So that's the first piece. How are you talking about the thing? What words are you using? The second piece of that is the communications channels. Where are you talking about the thing? So positioning, key question. What characteristics of my product does my intended customer need? Two segments, the two sides of your answer involve your messaging, how you talk about it, and your communications channels, where you talk about it. Because keeping in mind that every customer is not going to be on every platform to hear your message. So when you're thinking about the content that you're going to create, you need to be specific. You absolutely have to be specific. The person that you intend to attract needs to be clear that you are trying to attract them. And the way that you do that is in the delivery. It's in how you talk about it, and it's in the platforms that you use to talk about it. It's content marketing is more than just, write a blog post and publish it. And that's why I'm having this conversation, because I understand that there is a huge misunderstanding about what this process involves. There is a lot of work that happens before the content is actually created. Majority of the work happens before the content is actually created. Because by the time the blog post goes out or the live broadcast is being done, that marketer should already know who the person is, the intended customer, what that person's needs are, how they're going to talk about it, and the channels that they're going to use. All of that is included in that positioning piece. And if you're creating content and you're not getting sales, then this is the time for you to ask yourself if you're covering all of those pre-work steps. The success happens in the details. It's not in just, I'll just pop on live and talk about my thing. But if you're not talking about it in a way that directly speaks to the problem that your intended customer has, then they're not even going to receive anything. Yes, I'm drinking a hot drink out of a beer stein. It's one of those days. Whatever. It's 2020. So let's talk about the communications channels piece first, because that's simple, super simple. Or make sure you're using a mix of platform types. You're using owned, earned, and even paid platforms. That means at a minimum, you're using your website email list, because those are owned. Maybe earned might be your social networks, and then paid is paid advertising. If you want to make sure that you are reaching the person that you're trying to reach, then you're going to use a mix. You're not just going to stay on the platforms where you feel comfortable, because the people that you're trying to sell to may not be there. So you might be spinning your wheels and spending a lot of time on the one platform where you are most comfortable, but it will never be seen by your intended customer because they are not there. So, communications channels, mix. Let's talk about the messaging, because this is a little bit more detailed process. The messaging, there are some aspects that I want you all to consider when you are crafting your messaging in your content for your product. You see, it's layers, it's levels to this thing. So the first thing that you want to consider is the lifestyle of the intended customer. Great example of this that I always talk about when I'm doing marketing trainings and content trainings is Apple when the first iPod came out. I remember when the first iPod came out. I had the very first iPod. It was pink, hot pink with the little green screen. It was like this big. I remember seeing the commercials. I lived in Korea. I was in Korea at the time. I was active duty. I remember seeing the commercials when the first iPod came out, and the messaging that Apple used was this: 1,000 songs in your pocket. They didn't talk about the storage capacity of the iPod and how many buttons it had on the screen, because back in the day it had the little dial thing. They didn't talk about any of that. They didn't talk about that the screen was green and it was alphanumeric. They didn't talk about any of that. They considered the lifestyle of the intended customer, and the messaging was 1,000 songs in your pocket, because they understood that their intended customer would probably want to be walking around town listening to music without having to worry about carrying CDs. So if they said to them, our product allows you to carry 1,000 songs in your pocket, then that intended customer doesn't care about anything else, because it fits into their lifestyle. It makes sense to the way that they live their life right now. So you, marketer, need to get clear on how your product fits into the lifestyle of your intended customer. Because if you can't speak to that, there will always be a disconnect. The customer will not connect the dots themselves. You have to do that for them. You're the expert on your product. You have to be able to connect the dots and make it clear to them how purchasing your thing will fit into or improve their lifestyle. It's not about performance. It's not about features. It's all about how they are going to use it and how they would describe their own problem. 1,000 songs in your pocket. I bought that first iPod because of that. I didn't care about anything else, because I was the type of music lover that had books and books of CDs in the trunk of my car. That was me. So for me, it made sense for me to buy this thing that allowed me to carry 1,000 songs in my pocket. Apple they used their content to position that product for sale by speaking directly to my lifestyle. You, as a creator, as a business owner with something to sell, your content needs to speak directly to the lifestyle of the person that you intend to buy your thing. If you're not speaking to their lifestyle, they are missing your message every single time. They don't even care. They don't even care. You're not making it clear why they should buy it. You're not speaking to their lifestyle. That's the first piece of the messaging that allows you to position your product for sale using your content. The second piece of that is their state of mind. So remember, it's not about us. It's all about the person that we're hoping to engage in this transaction with. So first piece of it, you consider their lifestyle. The second half, the other side of that coin, is their state of mind. So you need to think about what motivates them. And in marketing, there are 4 key motivators. And I'm going to break them down for you. So again, get your pen ready and write these down. The state of mind of your intended customer speaks to one of 4 things. There is going to be one of 4 factors that will motivate them to buy. The first one is push. The push motivator means that they are unhappy with their current way of working. I am so sick of carrying around these CDs in the trunk of my car. I really wish I had a more portable way to carry all my songs and to be able to listen to them when I want to. 1,000 songs in your pocket. You see how that connects? They are unhappy with their current way of working. That's one state of mind. The second state of mind is pull. Pull means they are attracted by what you have to offer. Maybe also because underlying they're unhappy, but they're attracted to it. What you're giving them, it speaks to their desires. It's attractive. Is the packaging beautiful? Is the language that you're using enticing? Is it you, the way that you look? Because all of those things matter. You want to be attractive to them. What you're presenting is attractive. The third state of mind motivation is anxiety. And I'm laughing because at the time that I'm doing this broadcast, the whole world is dealing with anxiety. So for the savvy marketer that is able to speak to the concern, the real worry of the intended customer, and use that to build trust, like you can make the connection every time. Anxiety is a motivator. And then the fourth motivator is habit. It's habit. So if your intended customer is motivated by habit, then your job through your content is to help them see the costs of their current habits. What are they losing? What are they missing out on by having their current habits? Because that person that's motivated by habit, they're thinking, I'm going to have to learn a whole new thing. I'm going to have to upgrade my chargers and everything. That's what they're thinking. So if you want to position your product for sale, then your job through your messaging is to help them see the cost of continuing to do things in this way. Because in their mind, they're telling themselves, continuing to do things like this is safer. This is easier. So your job is to make them recognize the costs of staying in their habit. So you see, this content marketing thing is more than just, I've got this wonderful thing. You really should buy it. It's not even about this. You won't even get to this in the conversation if you can't back that thing up to show up in a way that they will respond to and use your messaging to speak directly to what's going to motivate them, what's going to light them up, what's going to blow their skirt up, what's going to get them in the mood to hear what you have to say. That's your job. It's not the customer's job to connect those dots. It's yours. You're the expert on this thing that you're selling. It's your job to connect those dots for them and be clear, because this is the thing. If you can't do that, then why should they give you their money? If you can't understand your product to the depths that will allow you to pull out all of these pieces and help the customer see it as something that they should get, that they should invest in, that they should spend on, then why should they trust you with their money? Now, for most products, going back to the messaging piece, the motivators, for most products, it's a combination of push and pull. Like I said, push is they're unhappy with their current way of doing, and pull is they're attracted by what you have to offer. More often than not, it's a combination of those two. But it's your job to know what it is and include those aspects in your messaging. Because when you're creating the content, you're taking the position as the expert in this thing. So you have to show up to engage in the conversations with them that they're not even aware that they don't know about. I just gave you, I just did it. I just did it in this conversation. I just gave you all of the pieces, all of the aspects that you need to include in your messaging to help you connect a customer to your product using your content. The pieces of the messaging that you didn't know existed. You didn't even know that these motivators were a thing. You should be doing this. Your customers are looking to you to do the same thing for them. They're looking to you to give them the information that they don't even know that they're missing. That's what content allows you to do. That's why I love it so much, because it is indoctrination over time. And I use that word indoctrination on purpose. That is what it is. It is brainwashing over time. And every marketer, every brand, every corporation that you follow does it. That's why when you sit and you watch a 1-hour television show, you will see the same commercials over and over, and every commercial break, you'll see the same commercials. Because they want it to penetrate your brain, so it becomes like second nature to you. All of us that operate in these online spaces, we get to do the same thing. We get to show up as often as we feel like it and penetrate the psyches of our customers, of our intended customers, so they can start to learn who we are and what we do and care why it matters and be interested in what we have to sell and then buy it. That's why we do this. We're not just creating content for the sake of creating content. We're not just creating content because somebody said we should. Content has a role, a very important role in the ability of our businesses to make money. A very important role. And I would hope that you, especially after all of the blows and the setbacks and the everything that we have dealt with in this year, I would hope that you are watching this and you are making the decision that you are going to step into the leadership role of your business and choose to create choose to be the architect of your future. You're going to choose to create the future that you want for your business in 2021. You're going to choose to lead your business into the dream that you have for it. And now that you've recognized that the needs, interests, and the habits of your intended customer has changed because of everything that we have all collectively experienced this year, you will know that you will need to create different types of conversations, because what is motivating your intended customer has changed. And because you want to position the products that you have to sell as solutions to their problems, you're going to elevate and fully step into your content marketing and strategic planning activities. And if you need support with that, I have a solution for you. If you are watching this on Periscope or on Instagram, you can click the link in my bio and the very first button will pop up. Is for a service that I currently offer. I am rebranding this service at the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. I am raising the price to $497. You can get it right now at the current price. Facebook, the link is in the caption of this broadcast. If you recognize that it is time for you to fully function and flourish in that role of building awareness, being a credible solution, and getting paid from the content that you create, I would love to work with you before the end of the year at the lowest price that this product will ever be available at. So click the link, grab the product. When it's rebranded, it's going to have a completely different name, completely different everything. But I want to offer it for you because I know the power of content. I know what content has done for my businesses. And every day I show up in this work to support other purpose-driven business and brand owners to do the same thing. That's why I do what I do. I would hope that you have an underlying reason that motivates you to do what you do, and you will invest in the resources that you need to help you create the content that makes that clear. Do we have any questions, comments, anything before I go? Hey, Natasha, thanks for tuning in. Oh, thank you, Margaret, for scribing. Good, good, good. Any questions on Instagram? All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. You can position your products for sale using your content, but it does involve some pre-work. And if you're just jumping on, definitely catch the replay. I broke it down by levels of what you need to know, those motivators that you need to include in your messaging, where, because that matters too, where your content is being published, that matters too. All of it matters. What you see happen on the blogs or by the time the live broadcast is being done, that's the light end of the stick. This is the light work. The real work, the heavy lifting happened before I went live. For you, the heavy lifting happens before you record the YouTube video. And I want to help you. I want to lighten your load and help you do that heavy lifting. So if you need that support, click the link in the bio or in the caption of this broadcast. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Again, I am Monique James, Master Content Strategist and founder of Renegade Creative Media Group. We help purpose-driven business and brand owners just like you know what to say online so you can be an expert, build an audience, and make your money using your content. And that's all there is. I will catch you all later.